Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful story, a parable called Smoke Signals, a parable of hidden blessings.
So let me start by asking you this, and it's really the big question this whole story revolves around. What if your absolute greatest disaster was actually your greatest miracle? It's a challenging idea, right? But it's at the very heart of the tale we're about to explore.
And to really get into that question, our story kicks off with what you could call a profound test of faith. Okay, so picture this. We meet our main character at his absolute lowest point. He's the only one who survived a shipwreck, and he finds himself washed up on this completely deserted island. I mean, can you even imagine the crushing weight of that kind of isolation? So in this moment of just utter desperation, his very first instinct is to turn to a higher power. He asks God for help, and that one simple act becomes his anchor, It's his one connection to hope when everything else seems completely hopeless. So his life settles into this really disciplined rhythm of just survival. Every single day becomes a cycle. First, you got to survive the day, right? So he's searching for food, for resources. Then he's constantly scanning the horizon, just looking for any sign of a ship. And all the while, he keeps praying for rescue, just holding on to that bit of faith. But that discipline, that faith, it's about to be pushed to its absolute breaking point. After all that waiting and praying, he decides he has to do something. So using whatever scraps he can find from the wreckage, he painstakingly builds a small hut. And this isn't just a shelter. It's a symbol of his resilience. It's his only protection, his one small piece of order in a world of total chaos. And then, the unthinkable happens. He comes back from searching for food, only to find his hut, his only shelter, his one symbol of security, completely engulfed in flames, reduced to nothing but smoke and ash. This is the moment his hope just shatters. He cries out, not just in frustration, but in this deep spiritual pain. Why, God? Why do you never answer my prayers? For him, this is it. This is the final, cruel proof that he's been completely abandoned. But what felt like the absolute end was actually the beginning of the story's real reveal, the smoke signal. And just look at this dramatic turnaround. One moment he's at his absolute lowest, watching the smoke rise from the ashes of his only hope. But then, just a few hours later, a new sound cuts through the silence, a noise from the sea. And then, impossibly, a boat appears, making its way directly toward him. He gets rescued, but he is just completely bewildered. He looks at the ship's captain and asks the only question he can think of. How? How could you possibly track me down in the middle of nowhere? And the captain's answer changes everything. It's so simple, but it's just staggering. He says, "We saw your smoke signal for help." The very thing he saw as his greatest loss was actually his salvation. And this reveal, it points to the whole theme of the story, doesn't it? The existence of a hidden plan, a bigger picture that was completely invisible from where he was standing. Let's just break down these two perspectives here. In the man's reality, his shelter is gone. All hope is lost. His prayer was not answered. But in the hidden reality, that same exact fire means his signal is finally visible. It means help is literally on the way. It means his prayer is being answered, just in the most unexpected way you could ever imagine. And this brings us right to the core lesson of the whole story. It's this powerful reminder to just hold on, especially when things seem to be at their absolute worst. Because sometimes what feels like a devastating setback is actually a crucial part of a larger plan we just can't see yet. And so that leaves all of us with one final thought to reflect on. You can ask yourself, what in your own life feels like a destructive fire right now, but just might be the smoke signal that's pointing toward your rescue?